on WHSV News 3.
A Malaysia airliner goes down in Ukraine. We're tracking this mystery that is changing by the moment.
Plus, Israel taking military action in Gaza. A busy day of news across the globe. We are tracking it all next.
And the weather is quiet around the area, but we're seeing those comfortable temperatures. How long will it last, and when are we going to see that rain? I'll have that straight ahead.
This is WHSV News 3 at 5.
U.S. officials confirming a passenger airplane shot out of the sky in Ukraine. Good evening, I'm John Rogers.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Gloria Balding. We do have breaking news on that. A Malaysian Airlines plane has crashed in eastern Ukraine. Ukraine's security services produced what they said were two intercepted telephone conversations that they said showed rebels were responsible for downing that Malaysian airline.
In the first call, the security services said rebel commander Igor Belzer tells a Russian military intelligence officer that rebels in their forces shot down that plane here Thursday.
In a second, two rebel fighters, one of them at the scene of the crash, say the rocket attack was carried out by a unit of insurgents about 25 kilometers north of the crash site.
Neither of those two recordings could be independently verified, but Tori Dunnan has the latest on the incident that President Obama is calling a terrible tragedy.
A Malaysia Airlines flight crashed in eastern Ukraine on Thursday, sparking global confusion and speculation. Pictures purportedly showing the wreckage quickly surfaced on social media. The plane headed for Kuala Lumpur from Amsterdam was carrying 280 passengers and 15 crew members. Given the current conflict in the region between Ukraine and Russia, officials are scrambling to determine why the plane went down.
At this point, we do not have any confirmed information about casualties, the cause, or additional details. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those on board, their families and loved ones. We're closely monitoring the situation.
According to his website, the Ukrainian president says we do not exclude that the plane was shot down and confirmed that the Ukraine armed forces did not fire any targets in the sky. This crash comes just a day after reports that a Russian fighter jet shot down a Ukrainian military plane. The country's prime minister has ordered a government commission investigate both of the incidents. President Obama spoke this afternoon.
I've directed my national security team to stay in close contact with the Ukrainian government. The United States will offer any assistance we can to help determine what happened and why.
In Washington, I'm Tori Dunnan reporting.
And we will, of course, be following this tragedy closely as it develops.
And coming tonight at 10 o'clock on the Valley's Fox and 11 at 11 here on TV3, we'll be speaking with an area analyst to see what this all could mean for the Valley.
And a brief humanitarian ceasefire has ended and the violence between Hamas and Israel has resumed. Reports today of more Israeli airstrikes and Hamas rocket attacks. But first, let's take a look. The Israeli military says it has launched a ground offensive in Gaza. This is what it looked like about half an hour ago in the Gaza Strip. The army said in a statement late today that after 10 days of Hamas attacks, it has initiated a ground operation within the Gaza Strip. The army says the objective is to strike a significant blow to Hamas's terror infrastructure. And new at 5, according to Virginia State Police, an 84-year-old Valley man died this afternoon after being accidentally hit by a minivan driven by his wife.
Police say Ernest Lee Nicely from Rockingham County was helping his wife, Virginia Nicely, back out of the driveway when something scared her. That caused her to step on the gas. The minivan she was driving went into a circle, hitting multiple things, including her husband, Ernest. He was taken to Centera RMH, where he died shortly after.
Virginia State Police did say that 77-year-old Virginia Nicely appeared to be disoriented after the accident. And new at 5, we know tonight that a fatal crash on a Valley highway is connected to the General Motors recall. And today, parents of the victim first saw the wreck of their daughter's recalled Saturn Ion. This is footage from the scene on March 17th of that accident that killed 27-year-old Laura Gass. Gass was driving a white Saturn Ion. Her car right there caught on fire after she crashed into the back of a tractor trailer. It happened on Interstate 81 at mile marker 210. We know now her Saturn Ion had been recalled and her airbag failed to deploy. Today in Washington, her grieving parents saw her wreck for the first time.
Going about her day, finishing up her last semester at Washington and Lee University. And she dies. I can't protect her. Parents' job is to protect their children. GM is not allowing me to protect my child.
This week, a bill was introduced in the Senate aimed at corporate concealment. It would make it a crime for any individual to knowingly hide information that a company's product could be harmful or deadly.
Waynesboro police arrested a Verona man after an assault on a couple at a business. Christopher Allen Wolk faces 2 counts of felonious assault on a man and woman who police say tried to stop a domestic dispute between Wolk and his wife. He also faces a felony charge of grand larceny and misdemeanor destruction of property. Wolk being held without bond at Middle River Regional Jail.
The Commonwealth of Virginia will export more to the United Kingdom and European Union. Governor Terry McAuliffe announcing that as part of the state's marketing mission. WHSV Augusta County reporter Garrett Weimer explains what the trade deals could mean for the valley.
Those new exports could be big for farmers and businesses in ag-driven areas like Rockingham County and here in Augusta County.
The deal specifically points to animal feed and specialty foods, boosting Virginia's agricultural products in Europe. It's part of an effort to grow exports in the European market, including forestry products like wood pellets. The announcement could be good news for areas like Rockingham County and Augusta County, where the economy relies heavily on agriculture.
This means a lot to our county. We have a lot of farmers here with a variety of different agriculture products that they're now able to export to even more locations. That's a really good thing for them, and I think this will be a really good thing for Virginia as a whole as well.
Statewide ag and forestry exports last year reached a record high. The governor's office says more than $320 million last year was exported to the United Kingdom and other EU countries. They say they expect that number now to go up. In Augusta County, Garrett Weimer, WHSV.
The weather there behind Garrett looking absolutely gorgeous. We're going to find out now from meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowitz if it's going to stay like that.
Well, the temperatures aren't going to get too warm.
Okay,
but
I like that.
I did not hear yes.
but well, we're going to see a few chances for some rain this weekend. Not great chances, but you know, temperatures, they're not going to increase too much. So it's kind of yes and no. Can't really give a solid answer on that, but it's kind of a yes and no. Take a look at temperatures outside right now. Very comfortable. You know, it doesn't get much better than this for mid-July. Low humidity, temperatures in the lower 70s for the mountains, mid and upper 70s for the valley. It's just going to be an absolutely gorgeous evening. I hope everyone had a chance to get outside for at least a little bit this afternoon. For this evening, temperatures are going to be cooling a little quickly with that dry air in place. 75 degrees by 7 o'clock. Still pretty comfortable into the lower 70s by 9. Some areas maybe even into the upper 60s and then into the mid 60s as we head toward that 11 o'clock hour. Now, as I mentioned, we do have some more clouds and a few chances for some spotty showers heading into the weekend, and we'll talk about who might have that better chance to see some rain. I'll have that for you coming up in a few more minutes.
Thank you, Aubrey. Right now, we're hard at work on some stories for later in the newscast. You've been following this IRS scandal, haven't you?
It's been going on for a while here now, and more and more testimony. Seems like almost every day on Capitol Hill.
The lost emails. What I'm dying to know, we're going to have that story new at 5:30, but what I'm dying to know is if, as a taxpayer, if I lose my emails and then I tell the IRS, sorry, I lost my emails, do I get away scot-free? What their reaction would be.
Don't want to necessarily try that. But,
no, this is true.
But
you probably
it would
try
be interesting to find out the answer. We're going to find out a little bit more, at least, what's going on in Capitol Hill coming up new at 5:30. And this is the first month for Stanton's new mayor. We'll find out what her biggest priority is in our one-on-one interview. That's coming up at 5:45. And today, meetings about the future of post offices in our area continue. Right now, more than 100 people are at a meeting regarding the Singers Glen Post Office. Now, these meetings have been going on regarding several post offices over the last several weeks. The post office is looking at cutting hours at some of the smaller offices in an effort to save money. As they say, fewer people use rural post offices for business, but they do note they won't be closing any, just reducing the number of hours. Now, WHSV's Nicole D'Antonio, she was in that meeting right now, and we'll have the results online at WHSV.com and on air later on tonight at 10 and 11. And tens of thousands of undocumented immigrants are expected in the coming months. Here with more on a possible cause, WHSV's Bob Corso.
Well, John and Gloria, the main causes of the problem, experts say, are gangs. More specifically, a violent gang that has ties here in the valley. That gang is MS-13. Gang experts tell us the most powerful gangs now in Central America originated in Los Angeles. More than a decade ago was when U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement began major crackdowns on transnational gang activity. Those in the crackdown included members of LA's notoriously violent Mara Salvatrucha gangs, known as MS-13 and the 18th Street Gang. Some of those deported gang members eventually became kingpins in Central America, terrorizing the population.
The gang members over there look up to anything that comes from LA. So you might be a small guy, but you come from LA, so that makes you a leader. Either you're a victimizer or a victim.
So, Bob, how many gang members involved in the crackdown you're talking about here?
Well, according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, between 2001 and 2012, more than 185,000 convicted immigrant gang members were sent back to Central America.
And also teenage members of the gangs crossing the border to get away from gangs in their countries, and some of them actually work their way here.
So, yeah, it's a problem across the border and a myriad of causes, but gangs starting in Los Angeles and being sent back may have been part of the problem.
Interesting stuff.
Things that we're seeing
absolutely.
Here. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob. Today, a local branch of the Department of Social Services releasing numbers all in regards to the cooling assistance program.
It's hot this time of year, and this evening, WHSV's Tom Dempsey has a closer look at the amount of families looking for help to pay for things like air conditioning. Tom?
Gloria and John, this is one of the pieces of paper that people can fill out here at the Department of Social Services where they can apply for the cooling assistance program in Virginia. Already this summer in Harrisonburg and Rockingham County, close to 500 families have been approved for help.
The number of families who have been approved this year is likely to match up closely to the amount in years past. According to records from the Department of Social Services in Harrisonburg and Rockingham County, recent years have averaged around 1,000 families getting approved for help. Tammy Zeller, who lives in Broadway, uses a similar program in the winter, and she says this time of year, any help to stay cool is needed.
It's very important, especially when you're in a situation where there is no income, or if you just don't have enough money. There's not enough money coming from Social Security to pay all your bills.
We will mention that to receive help with this cooling assistance program, there are certain guidelines everyone must meet. For a look at those guidelines to see if you are eligible, you can head over to WHSV.com and click on this story. In Harrisonburg, Tom Dempsey, WHSV.
Chaos after a bank robbery. See how the situation quickly spiraled out of control.
And people in one Virginia neighborhood say prostitution is getting out of hand. See just how brazen some of the prostitutes have been doing business.
And here's your planning forecast for Stanton. Right now, let's take a look on the roads on this Thursday night. This is a live look from Interstate 81. This is mile marker 227. This is the exit if you're going to the Augusta County seat of Verona. Now, if you want to check out our traffic cameras, all you have to do is head over to WHSV.com and click on the words traffic cams. You will find them on the right-hand side of the homepage. And new at 5, there's sex for sale on the streets of Southside Richmond, and neighbors say it's out of control.
For years, Jefferson Davis Highway has been known for prostitution. In the past, police stings helped reduce the problem. People there are calling for a crackdown. Donald Joyner has lived near Jefferson Davis for nearly 40 years and said he was recently at a red light with his kids in a car when a prostitute hopped in.
Prostitute got in my, opened the door to get in my car and, and sat down for a second. And I said, what the hell are you doing? I said, I will punch you in your face if you don't get out of my car. She got out really, really quick.
Joyner says the prostitution problem, the worst he's ever seen, and tells us that prostitutes are out all day, every day. Police say they do patrol the area and are working to reduce prostitution. A Harrisonburg police officer has been charged with following too closely following a crash on East Market Street. Lieutenant Kurt Boshart faces an infraction of following too closely in that crash on June 27th. It is punishable by a fine. No one seriously hurt in that 4-car crash, but it did cause significant damage to his police-issued vehicle. It also shut down the road for a time. Lieutenant Boshart is a patrol commander for the department. Job cuts coming to Microsoft, how the tech giant is trimming back the workforce more than it ever has.
Well, another day of low humidity and not exactly midsummer typical temperatures, but we'll see how long that lasts. And if we have any rain in sight, I'll have that for you coming up in just about 3 minutes.
Time to head out on the roads once again right now. We're taking a look at mile marker 264. This is I-81 in the New Market area, and not a whole lot of traffic to deal with, so smooth sailing out there on I-81. Looks like in both directions. If you want to find those traffic cameras, you can get to them on WHSV.com. Just look for the words traffic cams right there on the homepage.
And we have breaking news to tell you about. Britain has asked for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council on Ukraine. Britain's UN mention said today the time of the meeting has not been set.
Of course, this request following the downing of a Ukrainian Air Force fighter and Thursday's downing of Malaysia Airlines passenger plane carrying 295 people over eastern Ukraine. We'll, of course, keep following this coming up tonight at 10 and 11 o'clock. And, of course, ABC World News with complete coverage at 6:30 here on TV3.
A special hour-long edition, yeah.
Well, moving to the economy, and California's drought impact in the state in the billions of dollars. And fracking been a boon to a Texas town, but one may ban it there.
Jane King has that and more from the NASDAQ market site in New York City.
California's drought is expected to cost the state $2.2 billion in losses, and thousands of jobs will be lost as well. A report from the University of California, Davis says local governments need to better manage emergency water reserves to prevent the crop losses in the future. Now, most of the 17,000 estimated jobs lost will be in farms on the San Joaquin Valley. Well, cocoa prices have been soaring, so that means that we're going to be paying more for chocolate. Hershey's will hike candy prices by 8% immediately, and we'll be paying more for Reese's, Kit Kat bars, icebreakers, their other products. Now, in addition to cocoa, dairy and nut prices have also increased since the beginning of the year. Well, fracking has been one factor behind Texas's amazing economic growth, but now some in one Texas town want to ban it. The City Council of Denton rejected an all-out ban on fracking, but a petition now will go to voters in November. Now, fracking is controversial as environmentalists say it hurts the water and can cause earthquakes, but supporters say fracking can be done safely and it's cleaner than other forms of energy extraction. Well, President Obama announced new sanctions against Russia, hitting some of its major energy companies. So this is another effort to end the fighting in the eastern Ukraine. Financial and defense firms are also included in these new sanctions. From the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, I'm Jane King with your Ag and Energy Report.
A bank robbery turns into chaos, the dangerous situation in a California community. And next, more tough questions on Capitol Hill dealing with the fallout from the IRS scandal.
But first, a peek at the planning forecast for beautiful Franklin, West Virginia.